So welcome everybody. Welcome to Hot Song Podcast. It's June the 19th, 2025. The topic for this evening is clairvoyance. I'm not quite sure whether I've covered this topic before. I think this was covered for me anyways, maybe about a little less than a year ago. And I think I've had a lot of misunderstanding about what clairvoyance means in the past. So I'm actually getting clearer about what it is. So would like to um, cover this again, just in a bit more detail, and also sharing some of my own realization of what clairvoyance is. So let's kind of give a definition of what clairvoyance means. Clairvoyance means seeing things that is not obvious to the five senses. So when I say seeing, so let me just clarify what seeing means. Seeing does not mean actually seeing. For me, it does not anyways. It's you don't have to actually see a vision in front of you in order to have this as clairvoyance, but it may not be a sharp picture anyways, but it is about some visual cues that you may get. So that is what clairvoyance, that's clairvoyance is. It's really about picking up information, but not with your five senses. So I thought that there is actually an eye, like for example, third eye. We all talked about what the third eye, or at least I'm very familiar with the third eye. Third eye is in the middle of our forehead, like usually in between your eyebrows, around there. That's the third eye area. So there is something there within your that that functions as an eye, and we call it a third eye. So that's, I think, for the longest time, that is my knowledge of what the third eye is. And we actually see things, and I actually sometimes see picture in my mind's eye, or third eye anyways. So that's how I thought. I thought it's that there is something called a third eye, and it actually can see. So, however, my understanding of it now is actually a little differently. It is actually so clairvoyance, my understanding of clairvoyance is that it is not about sensing. So sensing means we use our physical eyes and we sense something, or maybe we use our ears and we hear something, or we use our hands or body to touch something. So we have sense of touch, we have sense of smell, we taste. So those are the five senses. That's actually the body parts picking up information, like objects out there, and that's sensing. That's normal five senses picking up the what the environment is conveying to us. However, clairvoyance is into knowing. So knowing is not about seeing something out there, seeing an object out there. It's actually about knowing. It's kind of a download. So knowing something. In a way, it is a information does not always come, like especially subtle information does not come, we cannot pick it up with our normal senses. So there, for example, I can see a person, I can see a person in front of me. Let's say I see all of you on the screen. So that's actually using my eyes to see. However, clairvoyance is, besides seeing how you all look, I can also pick up information that comes in. That's more than what the eyes can see. For example, sometimes when I see somebody, not you, of course, not all, any of you, of course, but when I see somebody, I may feel fear, or I may feel like, oh, I know that person. I don't know where, or how I don't know when I've met that person before. Maybe I've never met that person before, but I feel a familiarity with that person. So it is really picking up information that is not, that cannot be picked up by the five senses. So it is about knowing. So what actually knows? What actually knows? It is really our soul that knows, because our soul is actually so, like, so meaning that the non-physical part of us, the spiritual part of us, is actually so, that has so much more power. Now, in our I would say in our most authentic and I would say when we are not laid down by fear or worry or all those other emotions, we actually pick up a lot more about things that we, a lot more than what it is that our eyes or our ears can pick up. We pick up information that is in energetic form. Some people can see aura. Aura is not something that is that the energy cannot be picked up by our physical eyes, but our other senses, our extra senses, can actually know these things. So that is part of what clairvoyance is. It is about knowing, and what knows? It is the soul, or it is really relying on our consciousness. I define consciousness as being how much we know ourselves. How much are we aware of our soul? The more we are in touch with our soul, the more we can communicate with the soul, then more of these information is something that the soul knows. So the soul just know, because that's the nature of the soul, is it can download these information from cosmic energies. So that's why when we start to get to know ourselves, when we start to train ourselves to quiet our mind and to pay more attention to our inner knowing, then these are the things that we can pick up. It does not mean that we are all very good at clairvoyance at some point when we get to be more spiritual, because we each have different gifts. The thing about the soul is that everyone's soul is also unique as well, just like our fingerprints. It is unique. So each of us has a different makeup. Even our soul is different. So what we are able to pick up, what we are able to know, to download information, is different. Maybe not everyone is different, but there will be things that one person is better at than others. For example, Sifu James is excellent in seeing energy. So for him, that is his strength. Whereas there are other people who is not so good at seeing energy, but they can sense, they can feel energy. Like then there are some people um, they hear more things than what the physical ear can pick up. And so that's why clairvoyance only refers to the extra ability to be able to see things. There are also clairaudient, which is the extra ability to hear things that is outside the range of our physical ears. So these are all part of the clairs, I would say. Clairs simply mean it is not about physical sensing. It's about extra senses. It's about knowing. So that's the first thing I want to talk about, clairvoyance. So any questions or comments so far? I know a few people came in, so so
Good.
no, nothing so far? Okay. Okay. So just recap, I want to so my understanding of clairvoyance or any of the clairs right now is that it is a way of downloading. And because of such, so it is very unique to each person, each soul. And then the first thing that I want to talk about is, so what is it really? It is actually, because it's about soul, so actually it is the soul eye or the real eye or the heavenly eye. So these are all names for the same things. And we've been working with the real eye for the longest time already. At least, I think this year we've been talking about using the real eye for various things. So the real eye is another name for it is soul eye. It's also another name for it is heavenly eye. So any of these names is actually referring to the same thing. So what is the real eye? The real eye is it's a little bit lower than the third eye. Maybe about so the third eye is at the top of the eyebrow in the middle of the forehead. So the real eye is usually in between in terms of location, it's still in the middle of the forehead as well, around there. But it's between the eyebrow and your physical eyes. So it's usually the low about the lowest part of your nose bridge. So it's around there. It's not right on the surface, it is inside. And it's actually closer to the central meridian. So that's where the real eye is. So the real eye is where it gets information from the 0 point and the central meridian from the 0 point, because the 0 point is where the soul connects to the body. So it gets the information from your 0 point and also energies from the central meridian. So central meridian is, we have two meridians. One is kind of called the Kundalini. So it's to do with the chakra systems. And the third eye is on that. on the chakra system, because the third eye is the sixth chakra. So that is the Kundalini. But besides the Kundalini, there is another major meridian, which is the central meridian, and it goes in kind of like the middle of, in the middle, right in the middle of the body, around there. So when you activate the 0 point and you activate the real eye, you would feel that there is a, like when you breathe into it, you feel that there is kind of like a prana tube that's in the middle of your body. The more you breathe into it, the stronger you will be able to feel it. Okay, so that's how the 0 point feeds information to the real eye, and your real eye is a part of your body that can actually capture the information, get the information, and then you use your wisdom eye to interpret the information. And the wisdom eye has 4 components. So I actually just want to switch back to the wisdom eye. This is something that we talked about in May. So May 1st, remember the wisdom eye, there are 4 components. It has the wisdom eye, then, so this is on the right side. When you touch your eyebrow, you will feel that there is a dip, like an eyebrow area. There's a bone in your eyebrow area. There's a kind of a dip, and that's where the wisdom eye is, the right side. If you touch that. And then if you touch the eye socket on the right side, the lower part of it, there's also another dip. There's somewhere there's a dip there. And that is the insight eye. That's where the insight eye is located. And then the left side, there's a dip there. That's the karmic eye. And then there's a vision eye that is on the left side, but the lower eye socket, there's a dip in your lower eye socket. That's where the vision eye is. So all of these 4 components makes up the wisdom eye. And what the wisdom eye does is it actually taps into, it's called the celestial eye. It taps into cosmic energies. So depending on who you are and what your soul energy is ready for to receive, then it taps into those cosmic energies, and that's how you start to tap into that information. And then those information is passed to the insight eye, and what the insight eye is, it makes sense of what the energy is. It gives you an intuitive interpretation of what it is. And then the karmic eye looks at, so let's say if you're looking about your, if you're trying to get more information about, let's say, what's going to happen in June, for example, then, depending on how your celestial eye, what information, what cosmic energy you pick up, and you pass it to the insight eye, and it will interpret it, and then karmic eye will show you, okay, why is this happening? How what's the background, what's the karmic causes for it? And then the vision eye tells you, okay, so what are the possible outcomes? Because the vision eye kind of looks to the future events. So that's what the whole wisdom eye is about. So then let me get back to, so the real eye, look at the information, captures the information, and then pass it to the wisdom eye to go over these 4 filters to give you some, to allow you to have more insight into what happened, how come it is the way it is, and also possible outcomes, right? So that's how clairvoyance actually work. It's about getting the information from the real eye and then using the wisdom eye to interpret the results. So, any questions, comments so far?
No, I think I understand a little better than before. So thank you for sharing this.
Okay, great. Any other questions, comments? Okay, so let me actually now start to, let me get back to talk a little bit more. Okay. Um, mm, what should I talk about first? Okay, let me just talk about this first. So, clairvoyance. Okay, so remember we have physical body, we have emotional body, mental body, spiritual body. So those are kind of the standard 4 things uh, that we checks into. Um, So for the physical body, if you want to strengthen the physical body, then you have to work with the meridians. So you'll be doing things like either massaging or going for acupuncture to open up the meridians, your meridians, in order to heal or strengthen your physical body. Okay. So for emotional body, the emotional body, it is about working with your nervous system. So then things like doing vagus nerve massaging, those things, that's going to open up your nervous system. So your nervous system is capable to process more information better, so that your nervous system can be stronger, which means that, you will still be able to feel emotions, but you won't be overwhelmed by your emotions so easily. Okay, so that's one way of working with the emotional body, is to strengthen the nervous system. And that could be something that, massage, acupuncture, or just eating the right food that is going to supply more energy to your nervous system. And then the mental body, it's also about working with the nervous system as well, because the nervous system is rather it's a complex system, and it's all throughout the body. So a lot of the times our emotional body actually triggers the mental body and vice versa. So that's why with both of these, emotional body and the mental body, it is about working with the nervous system in order to strengthen both the emotional and the mental body. With the spiritual body, though, it's about working with the eyes. Now, it's not just um the real eye. It's about the wisdom eye. Also, we now know, remember the picture we have? Let me see. Where is the picture that I have? I think I have somewhere a picture that is about all eyes. Okay, yeah, this is the one. So remember this? So all of these eyes we have now. We know about these now. So real eye, fourth, fifth eye, six, seven, eight. H is up here. So eight, and then unity eye, and then nine, and in infinity eye. So all these eyes. So these are all the different eyes. So when we work with these different eyes, we are actually strengthening our spiritual body. So the eyes is about working with the soul, and also getting to know our soul better. Because most of the time we think too much, or we feel too much emotions, or our body has too many distractions. We want to go to the bathroom, we need to, go for a walk, that kind of things. So these are all distractions. When we um when we actually start to work with our real eye, and work with wisdom eye, and work with all these other eyes that we know about, we're actually starting to know who we are. So that is what learning about these different eyes, we've been talking about these different eyes, that's what they are for. They are actually doors, or the pathway to get to know our soul. We think we know ourselves, but actually we know so little about ourselves. The real self, not the little self, but actually the soul, the totality of our being. So it is through working with these eyes, because each of these eyes actually allow us to um disengage from the physical, emotional, and the mental bodies, not to completely break off, but to, I would say, tone down and tune down all these, because we've been bombarded by needs from our body, needs from our emotions, and needs from our mind for such a long time, that our spirit actually, we don't quite know who we are spiritually. So when we start to work with these eyes, we are actually starting to get to know who we truly are as a soul, as a spirit, not just as a body. So that's why all of these, even clairvoyance is a way for us to start to get to know who we are. Because when we start to see things that cannot be picked up by our normal senses, it changes who we think we are. It changes how we understand the world, because the world, it is physical. However, every physical thing actually has intentions behind it, has meaning, has purpose behind it, that is not obvious to our senses. So when we when we start to work with clairvoyance, work with these different other eyes, then we actually start to, we're beginning to see the world as it actually is, not just see the surface. We actually see more and more information. The decisions, the choice we make with just seeing service, just paying, I would say, paying attention to the service, is very different, or may be very different from the decision that we can make when we know all of those other information. what's the karmic consequences? How come, something is this way? It affects how we see things, what affects the choices that we are going to make. So that's part of clairvoyance, or clairvoyance is a one of the ways that we can start on that journey of getting to know our soul better. So let's say, okay, I don't see a thing. I have no clairvoyance ability whatsoever. So let's talk a little bit about, how we can strengthen our clairvoyance ability, because it is a muscle. Everyone can see something, can pick up something. You may not know everything, but you can pick up something. Okay, so it really is about starting to use that muscle. And the reason why you want to use that muscle is because you get to know who you are. You truly are your own soul. So part of the things is because we're working with the soul, so a few things will when there are a few things in place, then it's much easier for you to work with your soul. First thing is, make sure your body is comfortable. Your body does not need to be 100% okay. It does not need to be, absolutely healthy. As long as you're comfortable enough and you feel safe. So those are the concerns of the body, that you're comfortable enough, or at least um, whatever the level of your health is, that you are at peace with that. And also you feel safe. Because when you don't feel safe, your clairvoyance ability may be influenced or colored by the fear. So make sure your body is comfortable, make sure you feel safe. And also your heart. Heart is also about emotions. Make sure you're not in that moment. When you make sure you're not triggered when you're trying to, at first, when you're trying to start to use this muscle of being able to see things beyond what the eyes can pick up. Then peace in heart, meaning emotionally you are at peace. Okay, that's what the peace in heart means. Calm in mind, meaning that, don't try to do this when you're also trying to um, organize, 10 different things in your mind as well. It it's not going to give you the best results, at least when you are starting out. Make sure you have peace in mind, and make sure you have peace in your heart and peace or calm in your mind. And okay, so that's what those means. And then open communication with your soul. So do it with the intention that you are open for communication. And then be the observer. So be the observer simply means that you expect to, or you are open to see something. So you may not see something, but be open. Just observe everything, because you may not see a lot, but you will be able to see something. So just observe what comes up. Okay. So questions, comments so far before I continue? Not really. Okay. Let me continue then. So remember, a while back when we started working with the real eye or the soul eye or the heavenly eye. So we talked about that, so there's a location, and then we also worked with the orb. So when we start to really work with clairvoyance, we there are two ways to work with clairvoyance. Okay, two ways, and one is to work with to actually have the screen. So the screen is where you actually want to see image, or you want to see, yeah, image would be a good description of it. So, so your real eye, where your real eye is located, is actually where you want to have that screen. Or you can work with the orb, because the orb is usually about 8 to 10 inches in front of your real eye. So that's the orb. So because the orb is something that you project. So you're projecting an image of your soul outside of you. So that's the orb. So you can have the screen where the orb is. So either of these location is okay. So what that looks like is, so let's say you're working with your real eye. So make sure that the screen. So you kind of set the intention that you want to work with your clairvoyance, and you want to have the screen at your real eye location, where the real eye is. Or you can say that, okay, I want to work with my clairvoyance, and I want the screen to be at the orb. So the orb and the screen is kind of merged together. So either of these will do. Depends on whether you want to work with the orb or you want to work with your real eye. Okay? Any questions, comments so far?
For me, it's good. So you're gonna share these slides, right?
You can what?
You are going to share with us the slides, right? Your notes.
Yep, sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other comments? Questions?
Is everybody sleeping or they are just listening? They're really trying to do. I don't know.
Think it's too complicated, so I'm just I'm just partially absorbing the stuff, okay?
Mm. I think if you don't get anything, at least okay, so couple of things is, where the real eye is, right? Okay, so just set the intention that you want to see. You want to see image with your, so just set the intention that you want to work with your clairvoyance. I think, yeah, that is, and then use the real eye to do that.
Okay, that one I can do. Thank you.
Yeah, because your soul would kind of know what it is that you want. Right? So I think that would kind of streamline it or at least in my mind, I think that's would streamline it. Because if you're working with the orb, then that may be a bit more complicated, but just real eye. And I think, yeah. So the first thing is set the intention that you want to work with. You want to strengthen your clairvoyance, and also know that when you strengthen your clairvoyance, you're actually getting to know your soul better. Because it is your clairvoyance is really your soul's ability. You don't get to be clairvoyant any other way. So when you're working with clairvoyance, you are actually working with your soul energy. So those two are just hand in hand, because it is about strengthening our soul's ability. So, and if you don't want to strengthen your soul's ability, you don't care about it, then you're in the wrong podcast. So,
Winnie, I have a question.
sure.
When you see, I see too many details with my real eyes, and I feel sometimes it's it it blocks my clairvoyance because I see so many details in every image or everywhere I go. I see too much, yeah, physically.
Basically, see too much?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what about if you close your eyes?
Oh yeah, if I close my eyes is good. Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you can do, because yes, I can totally understand, because you are so accustomed to um getting information in through your eyes, so it can be very distracting when you are beginning to start to use clairvoyance. So
Yes.
if you close your eyes, or of course you do it when you're able and safe to close your eyes. So
Mhm.
close your eyes, and then and just set your intention on what do you want to see.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
Okay.
Sometimes I see beyond the physical, and I'm confused. I don't know if I see the reality or not. So yeah, that's my struggle.
Mm-hmm. I
Most of
think.
the time I block it, but yeah, I do see. So, but yeah, the advice with closing my eyes is good, because then I
Mhm.
just tune out of what I see physically.
Yeah, so it's easier to see when, or to do clairvoyance, to practice clairvoyance when you have your eyes closed, and
Hmm.
also ask question as well, because you also activate your wisdom eye. Your wisdom eye, what it does is it actually it answers questions for you. If you, let's say, you can ask, okay, how come I am seeing this? What am I supposed to do with this information? For example, that is a good question to ask.
Hmm.
And then you also ask questions like, okay, so this is what I see, but why do I see this? What are the what happened before that caused this to be the case it is? So you're looking at the karmic, um, I would say the karmic consequences of why you're seeing this. So
Hmm.
ask those questions, because when you ask, you will get to, like, if you don't ask, then you may not get that download.
Mm-hmm.
So ask those questions to clarify for yourself. Whatever it is that you're not clear about, ask questions, because it's about it is what your soul can do. So
Mm-hmm.
communicate with your soul.
So I ask my higher self or the karmic I or the wisdom I.
You activate your wisdom eye, and
Mm-hmm.
your wisdom eye would communicate with your higher self, because it has part of the components of your wisdom eye is the celestial eye, which gets information from, higher dimensions,
Mm-hmm.
including your higher self.
Mm-hmm.
So activate your wisdom eye as well. So
At this point, maybe I will change, but I prefer to communicate only with my higher self. Is that right, or is that do do I have to expand my thinking or my wish? So how? Yeah, I sometimes I'm afraid. Yeah, even I'm afraid to. I just want to
okay.
to
If that
communicate it.
if that makes you feel safer, then sure, your higher
Mhm.
self. But I'm laughing is because, depending on how high is the higher self.
Yeah,
It's at some point, everything is just one.
yeah.
So, yeah. However, if you're comfortable with higher self, then work with your higher self.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And just know that, um, at some point in time, everything would be a higher self.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that.
Okay. Good question, though.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments before we continue? Okay. So,
So
oh,
for me, when I say higher self, I don't say higher. I always say highest consciousness. Is that
is what?
okay? Highest consciousness or highest self,
Okay.
the
Mm-hmm.
highest one, the not higher, highest. Is that correct?
Okay.
Or do I have to go step by step? The higher and higher and higher, then highest, like climbing the ladder.
Mhm. Um, work, I would say highest self. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, highest self is fine too, I would say. So what I want to say is try it out. See which one you like better.
Okay.
Because your higher self is going to work with you. So it won't penalize you for using the wrong words. It is really intention.
Okay. Sometimes I feel that I'm saying that, okay, that connect with the highest self or higher self doesn't matter, like which way. And sometimes I feel like, am I hallucinating or is it reality?
Hmm. Okay. I would say just do some meditation first,
Mm-hmm.
because you're thinking too much.
That is a given to me, right?
You're thinking too much. So it's like, yeah, okay. It's like, yeah. It's the most important is intention. What do you intend to do? And the words is not as important. As long as you use the words that represents your intention, then that's good enough.
So even when I'm doing a meditation, sometimes my mind does not shut off. Like it comes in, and then I have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Mhm. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
You are welcome. Okay, let's continue on then. Where am I? Okay, we're back to this. Okay, so let's skip this. So let's just kind of go through the procedure first. Okay, so set the intention, because when you're trying to work with your clairvoyance ability, you want to practice with certain things. So set intention on what it is what information do you want to see. So that's the intention. So set the intention, what do you want to do? Okay, and then you start to maybe do a little bit of breathing exercise to calm your body down, that kind of stuff. And then you activate 0 point, because that's really where your soul connects with your physical body. So you activate your real I, and you may want to work with merging the real I and the third eye. Why? Why we do that is because most people, well, I would say that for some people, I wouldn't say most people, for some people, uh, they've been using the third eye for a long time, because third eye, pretty much everybody knows. Like if you say your third eye, people will understand what you're talking about, but not as many people know about the real eye. There is a difference between the two, the real eye and the third eye, because the third eye gets its information through the chakras. So it is actually a it is you're still working with your mind. You're still getting information through your mind. So it is not as pure as going through the real eye, because the real eye is really the soul eye. So you working with soul energy. Whereas the third eye, it's a bit of both. You have some of your soul's energy you're working with, but you also the mind is also active. That's what the third eye is. However, when you are first using the real eye, it may be easier to merge the two, so that you are not completely starting something from scratch. So that's why I put in brackets. So you have to decide for yourself. Do you have a strong third eye? If you do, and then you may want to try merging the two. But if you're not very strong in your third eye, then start with the real eye. Don't even mess with the third eye. Okay? And the orb activators, if you want to work with the orb, with with the screen at your orb, then activate the orb. Otherwise, you don't need to activate the orb at all. So it's also optional. And then you activate the wisdom eye, and then you activate each component of your wisdom eye as well. And then you just allow the information to come through and then see what happens. So several things more I want to talk about this as well is when you want to strengthen your clairvoyance ability, things that you can do is work with your real eye. So strengthening your real eye, really breathe into your real eye until it actually pulse. 0 point as well, when you sense a pulse. So it's a pulse. When you breathe into the 0 point and the real eye, and also work with your central meridians. So breathe, use your breathing, and also use your visualization to, let's say, breathe in through the 0 point in the real eye, breathe in energy all the way to the sacrum, and then breathe out through the top of your head until you actually feel the top of your head, that there is a pulse there, which is where the central meridian comes out of your body. So breathe until you feel your central meridian is strong, and you will feel it. You will feel that there's an energy running through your body, running inside your body. You can feel that when you breathe through the central meridian. So because the strength of your ability to see things with clairvoyance is you have strong 0 point and real eye. You have strong meridian, central meridian as well. And if you're working with your orb, then you have the strong orb as well. So questions? Comments before we kind of... Okay, so let's set an intention. Let's see. Let me think of something that we can kind of set an intention for. Intention is let's set an intention to get some information about July 1st, for example. Okay. Is that a good intention? So just set the intention that you want to focus on the day of July 1st. And then get whatever information you can get. July 1st. If you want to be more specific, you can say, if you're in, so for example, I'm in Toronto, so I would say, what's happening? How is Toronto on July 1st, for example? Or you can say, how is July 1st in, let's say, Scarborough, if you're in Scarborough, or wherever it is that you are. Set that intention that you want to tap into that location. Or you can also limit that to, let's say you want to find out things about yourself on July 1st or someone else on July 1st. So I'll leave that up to your own volition to decide. But let's say July 1st. That's something that is not too far in the future. Okay, so let's set the intention to do a clairvoyance, a download on that date. Okay, so